ready for this?
Hi, is Chuck home?
¿Me permiten darles mi testimonio?
Sí, por favor.
I guess it seems kind of weird a guy like me is the one to teach you.
You're definitely not like my priest.
How come they call you sisters, but the dude's elders? Shouldn't they be brothers?
We can tell you what we believe, but the beauty of the gospel is that you have a right to know it for yourself.
The important thing is belief.
So how's that working for all of us?
I've had that give me your number thing before.
Anyone ever call?
No, not one.
It's so peaceful here.
When I can't make it here, I sing church songs to create my own peaceful place.
You're worth more than you realize.
I've had an impression.
I need to transfer you one last time.
Okay.
Why would God care what happens to a bunch of drunks?
My dad said that he would disown me if I joined the church.
I'm gonna give up everything that we talked about last time.
If you're willing to keep his commandments, he'll bless your efforts.
I know this is what people say, but you're in my prayers.
Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them.
If you want happiness, it's your decision. If Jesus sat and talked with you right now, what would he say?
Behold, mine arm of mercy is extended towards you, and whosoever will come will I receive. And blessed are those who come to me. I need help.
That's how Christ feels about you. That's how he feels about us.
Wow. Oh my goodness, how exciting. Hello, everybody. My name is Jenny Nunandai. I am joining you this sunny, beautiful, and kind of windy evening from Provo, Utah. Today we are going to be discussing the upcoming film, soon to be released, Mission Stories. We are very excited today to have three special guests, and we will get to all three of them. On board, we've got Bryce Clark, who's the writer and director. We've got Nadia Sine, who is an actress who plays Sister Washington in the film, and then also Nick Mathews, another actor who plays Darren in the film. I think I didn't mention that we are broadcasting from Meridian Magazine tonight, and that Mission Stories is part of Purdy Distribution and Excel Entertainment. We're very excited about this. You know, I'll tell you, living locally, I've seen ads for this up and down the freeway, everywhere I drive, and wow, what an interesting concept to have this Mission Stories film. So first, I'd like to welcome, like I mentioned before, the writer and director of Mission Stories, Bryce Clark. Welcome, Bryce.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. We're so happy. Thank you for spending your time. Before we begin, I want to mention, and we will mention this throughout, but Mission Stories will be in theaters on May 7th. And you can get your tickets right now at missionstories.com. And like I said, we will be mentioning that kind of throughout, just as a reminder, because I know that's something that people are going to ask. For everyone who's joining us on this live stream, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know where you're watching from. If you could leave a comment, let us know where you are. And if you have heard of this film, if you're looking forward to it, we'd love to know your thoughts, and we'll get to as many of those comments as we can. Bryce, again, thank you. Writer and director of Mission Stories. I'm just going to go right ahead and get right into it. A film called Mission Stories, presumably about mission stories. I didn't serve a mission. Is this film for me?
Well, I didn't serve a mission either.
Now, wait. What? So you didn't serve a mission either. And here you are, the writer and director of a film called Mission Stories. Do you want to give us some history of how we got here today to have this conversation?
For sure. About 2 years ago, I was contacted by Deseret Book to develop a TV series called Mission Stories, which would take true stories from the mission field and dramatize them for a TV series that would launch a new streaming app for Deseret Book called Deseret Video. And there's some personal stuff I have to tell you because there's no way to tell my involvement with this without revealing this. But after I started developing the project, my life fell apart. And I ended up in treatment for alcoholism. And I assumed that my involvement with mission stories was over. A recovering alcoholic who did not serve a mission, probably not going to make mission stories. But while I was in treatment, I realized that I'm actually part of a mission story. And me being in treatment was the fulfillment of that story. It's one of the chapters in the film. The film is an anthology. It's 3 of the episodes that were going to be the series. As we started picking episodes, we realized that the 3 initial episodes were thematically linked by stories of recovery. So I started to write the scripture stories into it. And we had this dinner with 14 mission presidents and wives. And we heard all of their stories. And we realized we can tell these stories forever. There's so many of them, and they're so compelling. And they lend themselves to this 30-minute short stories, in essence, short films. And these first 3 we are releasing as a feature film that does come out on May 2nd.
Well, you make a great point, and that is that there are so many mission stories. Many who are paying attention and watching this this broadcast right now have served missions, certainly, or they know someone who was a missionary who has been affected by missionaries in their life. How do you land on the 3 that you've begun with for this film? And just as a side note here, there seems to be a problem with audio a little bit. Like maybe, yeah. I'll as you go, we'll try to figure this out so the audio is more clear.
Okay. Well, like I said, the first one is a story that I'm involved with.
Okay.
It started when I should have been serving a mission. A friend of mine joined the church and took the discussions in my house with my parents and 2 missionaries. He hit it off with one of the missionaries, and that missionary went home to Utah, and his life fell into drugs and alcohol, multiple suicide attempts, just really hard stuff. But my friend stayed in touch with him, writing letters, texts, emails, phone calls, reminding him that he was the one that taught my friend the gospel. And a little over 2 years ago, my friend flew out from Boston and rebaptized missionary. And I went to lunch with him. And when I heard this elder's story of recovery, I realized that I needed to kind of help that people. And so, in a very strange way, it's a full circle story of me sharing the gospel with my friend, totally accidentally, to then the missionary who taught him teaching me, not that the church is true, but that recovery is possible. The second story is Mono, and it's in Spanish subtitle. And we got that story from the dinner commission. That one is about the miracle. I don't want to give away what the miracle is, but it's really powerful.
So,
and then,
sorry, really quickly. There's something again with the audio.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, there you are again. Okay, it's just kind of in and out. I just want to, for anyone who had a hard time hearing that, you were saying that the first story, because there are 3 in this film, correct?
Correct.
So the first one is a personal story for you, because it is kind of, someone who, like you said, a friend of yours at the time when you would have maybe been going to serve a mission, who joined the church and went and served a mission himself. But it's a lot about the relationship between your friend and the missionary who baptized him. The second one you're saying is called Hermanos?
Hermanos, yes. And that one is in Spanish with subtitles and involves a miracle. And I don't want to give away the miracle because it's kind of part of watching that story, but it's really powerful. And then Chuck is another story that involves recovery and redemption. And so they're all thematically linked. And we realized that would make a great anthology feature film. And so we're launching this new Mission Stories branch, which we anticipate to be feature films, a new series on the Deseret streaming app, and then podcasts and books and other formats.
Awesome. Okay, so these three, like you said, it's those are part of the feature film. The three included in this film: Full Circle, Hermanos, and Chuck. And then moving forward on the Deseret streaming app, there will be a show including even more mission stories. Going to the part that is the story of Chuck, I'd like to go ahead and bring on Nadia Sine, who's an actor from that portion of the film. She plays Sister Washington. Nadia, welcome. Oh, just one moment. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I mean, is that the phrase from the past year or what? So yeah, welcome. Thank you for being with us tonight.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
How did you come to be involved with Mission Stories?
Well, I'm a full-time actress, and through my agency, I got the opportunity to audition for this film. And luckily, I got chosen for this role, and yeah, the rest is history.
Excellent. Do you, how much of the work that you do as a full-time actress is religious themed?
To be honest, not much. So for this to be my first feature film, it's a really interesting start. But I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share this part of it too, because I myself served a mission.
Oh.
Yeah, I did.
Where did you serve?
So I served in Temple Square, right in Salt Lake. Yes.
Wow.
And then I also did a what we call outbound assignment, just a very partial trip to Bronx, New York for 3 months, and then I came back to finish my mission.
Very good.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I'm sure you have a lot of stories that you could probably share moving forward on the Deseret streaming app, having served a mission yourself. So you're a full-time actress. You book this piece. How is this different? This feature film. You said this is your first feature film.
Mm-hmm.
And how, beyond that experience of it being a feature film, how was this different from previous work that you've done?
I must say I was able to relate a lot to the storyline, given I too did serve a mission. But I must say that it was a very different experience, even from me serving in Temple Square. Like, I didn't walk around knocking on doors and flight, like I did in this movie. And so it was just like those little differences that kind of took me back into my mission life, but just in a different way, like in a different perspective.
Got it.
It was like reflective, but also a new way to see a missionary.
Yeah. Bryce, are all the actors involved in this project, are they local? I mean, was this filmed and completely made in Utah?
Yes, and because of the pandemic, we could not travel anyone from out of state. And so all of the crew and all of the cast are from Utah. And it was great to have auditions come in and have the actors be so talented. And I saw Nadia's audition and I was like, who is this? This is amazing. Who is this? and she's so great in the role. She's just wonderful. And that was true of everyone that we cast, which was extraordinary.
Agreed. She is wonderful. Her character is one of my favorites from the film. Speaking of excellent local talent, I'd also like to bring on Nick Mathews. He is an actor who plays the role of Darren in the piece called Full Circle. Now, I'm sure that, you know, and we can talk about this in a minute, Bryce, but that Full Circle isn't just one piece of this film. This film, even though it covers 3 mission stories, it is not just this one, then this one, then this one. And so welcome to you, Nick. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Jenny. Great to be here.
So tell us about your experience, similar to Nadia. We just learned that from Bryce that that the pandemic played a part in this, in just kind of the logistics of creating the film. And so how was the experience for you?
Yeah, pandemic-wise, it was very interesting between masks on, masks off. I mean, sitting in hair and makeup and then not wanting to mess up the job as you put your mask back on and hustle back and forth. Also, doing such a major project like this with only self-tape auditions. That was because that's for safety. We had to do it, you know, from home and not in a casting room. That's always has its own challenges, but yeah, very interesting year to make movies last year.
Yeah. How did the story of Full Circle touch you? I mean, how is that? Is there any aspect of it for you that really was significant and special?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things about my story is, I mean, not only is it a story about redemption, I think for me, the thing that touched me most was being willing to be vulnerable and ask for help. I think that's something, whether it's we feel pride or we feel shame, asking for help is hard. It's a lifelong lesson. That was one of the things I remember most about the role. It was very well written.
Agreed. You know, and it reminds me, just going back to what Bryce said earlier in his own introduction, that he doesn't have experience serving a full-time traditional mission, the kind that we think of when we talk about mission stories. And also he himself, you know, is a recovering alcoholic, and while a part of us might initially think, oh, that doesn't kind of fit the mold of who would be the person to do this project, to fulfill that role. The reality is, like you just mentioned, Nick, we all are in need of help. It looks different for every person. And I love that idea of redemption. I feel like in each of the 3 stories presented in this film, redemption is kind of a recurring theme, or maybe that's just part of life because that is such a core tenet of the gospel.
Absolutely. I wish I could speak to the 3. I only know my story. I know Bryce, you know, is very well versed, but from what I've seen and what I know, these 3 stories are, as Bryce said, thematically linked. Redemption, coming back to you know, where you belong, where you feel you belong, and I can't wait to see it.
That's so exciting. That's so great. Bryce, like we mentioned before, though these 3 stories are, you know, make up the bulk of what the Mission Stories film is, they aren't presented sequentially. So is Bryce, can you? Yeah. So I just want to talk about that a minute, because like I said, it isn't like like the movie opens and it's, here's story 1, here's story 2. And, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but I'm wondering, Bryce, if you could talk about that and kind of the decision to format it that way. I really liked it. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, I mean, we realized that we had a story in Full Circle that was a little bit longer than the other 2. And so we felt that bookending the movie with that story was the right strategy. And watching the finished film, it just feels right. It just feels like it has this good flow through. And even though each of the stories are standalone stories, the themes are so similar that it feels like one piece. Where we have every story has its own cast. And so it was like making three short films. But I think they work together as one piece quite well.
Agreed. What is something that each of you, again, we're talking about mission stories. We're talking with Bryce Clark, Nadia Sine, and Nick Mathews from the film Mission Stories, which will be in theaters on May 7th. You can go right now to missionstories.com to buy your tickets in advance for those showings. And did we say it's going to be shown in 40 theaters?
Yes, it's starting in Utah, and between 30 and 40 screens. And then based on how it's received, it can go all over the country. So if people come out and support this film, it will go all over America. Eventually, it will be available on home video like iTunes and Amazon and Blu-ray and DVD. And then it will live on the Deseret streaming forever after that.
Got it. We've talked about this when we've talked about other films before, but I just want to remind everyone just the importance of exactly what you just said, Bryce, which is a really great way to support local filmmaking and in fact any filmmaking that you feel is worthwhile for yourself, for your families, for your communities, is to support those films in the first days and weekend of the screenings, wherever they may be, because what that leads to is potential wider distribution so that more people can see it. So I've seen some people in the comments, someone from South Carolina saying that they would love a showing. And so, I'm going to throw it to the person in Kaysville and say, go ahead and go to that showing this weekend and bring everyone you know. I would like to hear from all three of you. If there was something about this film that you want people to know, what would that be? Nick, can we start with you for that?
Yeah, something that I want people to know about the film.
Yeah.
It is, for me, it's one of the most grounded, these are based on real life stories, as Bryce said, and that's what adds to the groundedness of it. These are real stories that we can all relate to in some fashion. I think no matter what your background is, whether you've served a mission or not, whether you've been in the church or not, there are themes, there are real elements and real stories here that we can all relate to, and there's something for everyone, I believe.
Excellent. Thank you. Nadia, what about you?
Something I'd like to say is that when you watch it, the emotions are real. Like the spirit is real. I even felt it when I saw the trailer. I was amazed. I was like, oh, you always think that like there's like this, facade in like film where people like try to feel what they're feeling, but all throughout shooting, I like couldn't stop crying because I felt that at the time. As a missionary, you have these real experiences, and so you just connect so easily.
Excellent. Thank you. And Bryce, what about you?
Well, obviously, it's pretty personal for me because I'm in one of the stories. But the thing that stood out to me about these stories and mission stories in general is how the Lord never gives up. And his arm of mercy is extended to us forever. And it's so clear in these stories. There are things that seem like coincidences or random events or unrelated things that are part of a larger plan. And God's role in our life is always there. And sometimes I know for myself, I struggle to see it because of my own ways and where I've looked. But when you have eyes to see and you look forward, he's there. And that's so clear in the redemption, is that God is not. And also, it's the love and support that missionaries have for those that they teach, and then the support that those who they teach have for other people. It's not just a singular experience, missionary stories. The impact that they can have is almost immeasurable. And I feel like we capture that in a way in this film that's uniquely powerful. And I'm really looking forward to this to audiences. And I think that my hope is that God does not give up.
God does not give up ever. I love that. And I really like, thank you for that, Bryce. I really like what you're saying about kind of the expansion, really, of the effect of people's mission stories. Because, when I think about it, and I think the film does an excellent job of displaying this very principle, but I did not serve a traditional full-time mission, and yet, and I think maybe for many of us, we've all been in a situation where people do start talking about their missions, and sometimes it can feel a little exclusionary, if I'm being honest. And yet, many aspects of my life have been affected by missionary work, from the time I was a little girl growing up in New York to the fact that now my daughter is married to a boy that they met while serving their missions together. Those are mission stories that are my stories that have nothing to do with my having served a mission. And I feel like because you have taken that aspect of it, that really is a more inclusionary way to bring the audience in to find and consider really their own mission stories. So, gosh, what a gift. Really quickly before we wrap up, what can we look forward to with this, with the streaming show on the Deseret streaming app with more mission stories?
Well, one of the things that I take away from this process as I began to develop the TV show and then this film is that what missionary work is really about is telling people that Jesus Christ lives, that he's real. And how that message is conveyed is so individual and varied and different to each story. But the truth of that is what links all these mission stories together. It's why we love them, because there's something beautiful about watching somebody who discovered that truth for themselves. And when that happens to people, where they are, how old they are, is completely individual. But the idea that Jesus Christ is the Savior and that we all is universal. I would believe in this guidance that when you're telling a story, the more specific you can be about your story, the more universal it needs to be. And I believe that these stories will appeal to people from all different backgrounds because the themes are universal. Faith, friendship, love, recovery. These are things that happen inside and outside of the church all over the world. We're focusing on mission stories within our faith. But the themes of redemption and recovery and friendship and love are things that people experience all over the world. Ours just happen to be about mission work and because Jesus Christ and all of that. And so people can look forward to more of these stories. We want to tell one week you can come in and it can be just a slap comedy. The next week could be a heart-wrenching drama. There could be an action episode, a thriller episode. I mean, that's the thing about these stories is that there's so many incredible stories. And then every once in a while, I'm going to sprinkle in what it's like to be a missionary and a day in the life type of thing. And also the truth that not every mission ends with this climactic story that is a miracle. Some people serve missions and don't ever have a conversion, but that's still a success. They still are spreading love and faith throughout the world. And we want to capture that and share it with audiences.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Just one last time, I want to remind everyone that Mission Stories will be in theaters on May 7th throughout the state of Utah. It's really important to go out if you can, get people to support that film so that there can be wider distribution. You can get your tickets now at missionstories.com. I want to thank Bryce Clark, the writer and director of Mission Stories, Nadia Sine, actress from the part of the film that covers Chuck, who plays Sister Washington, and also Nick Mathews, an actor from the part of the film called Full Circle, who plays the role of Darren. I want to also thank Meridian Magazine for hosting this live, and also Purdy Distribution and Excel Entertainment. We really look forward to being able to see this film. We look forward to, moving forward with the Deseret streaming app and the show that will follow. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Hope you have a great week, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.